Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeffrey Yefsky. I'm the CEO for 5X Technology. First things first, I'd like to thank you for your time in coming and listening to our presentation. Today's conversation will be with regards to LaunchWorks, and Kevin McManus, who is the CEO for LaunchWorks, will be giving today's presentation. One of the things we're going to talk about is how the integration for the LaunchWorks products with BusinessObjects and Salesforce can make your jobs that much easier through a better understanding of the data management and data movement flow of the information, as well as how you interact and work with the information. Kevin, can I get you to move forward to the next slide, please? First things first, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on 5X Technology. 5X Technology is a SAP BusinessObjects partner. We have been for about 15 years. We're also a small business SDBVE, which is for only those organizations that are on the government side, which I believe we have a couple on. This is information that's more geared towards you. Our main area within 5X Technology is with regards to business intelligence and business analysis. So we handle everything from the outside the data source all the way through the end customer experience. One of the things that makes our presentation of the LaunchWorks here so important is that we are a valued partner of LaunchWorks, and we have worked with Kevin McManus and his team for, God, Kevin, what, 12 years or something like that? It's been a very long relationship. Let's go forward to the next slide, please. So let me go ahead and, Kevin, I think it'd be best actually we only had you go ahead and give the background on where you're at and how LaunchWorks interacts, and let's go ahead and kick this presentation off. Does that work for you?
Sure. I just want to make sure that everybody's got the audio. Just one second here. Okay, good. Someone on the chat had a problem with the audio, so I think they have it now. Right. All right. Sounds like we got everybody here. So as Jeffrey mentioned, Jeff and I, 5X Technology and LaunchWorks, have been working together for a long time. We're really been working in BI for a greater part of our careers, and founded LaunchWorks about 8 years ago. We're not only very active in the analytics community, but also in the different groups, user groups, really all over the world. And if we want to go over is really how to get more out of the BusinessObjects platform, how to connect it with platforms like Salesforce.com that would otherwise create scenarios where you've got disparate information across different layers. You've got data in the cloud, you've got data on premise, and it's really about all different types of applications, and especially cloud applications, with through a common reporting platform. So kind of a live example of what embedded analytics that we use is just by simply going to Google and typing in something like Major League Baseball. So you get two different results when you do that. You get the 39 million results that came back in 0.6 seconds, and then you get basically a report of the most relevant information to you. So when it comes to, obviously, sports, you might be looking for something like the last day's scores and what's coming up. And business shouldn't be that much different. You should be able to very quickly, within the application that you're in, be able to get the relevant information you need to make a decision. So, the idea of, a report coming back should be as simple as that same Google process. And that's what we're going to show you how to get to today. So, why would you do this? this idea of eliminating the effort of moving data back and forth to the cloud for reporting purposes, it's kind of silly in one aspect in terms of, you've got all this data and then you want to, present it to the user within the interface that they're running their application on. So a lot of companies are moving all that data from on-premise up into the cloud just to report on it. So the benefit of this report launch framework is the ability that you don't have to move that data. You can keep your data quality intact. You can have the real-time reporting that you need on your on-premise data, but have it available across different applications, no matter where on the network those applications are. And that's the whole concept of embedded analytics. Reduce the redundant effort and costs of different reporting projects, remove the data duplication costs, reduce the training costs of users having to learn multiple different tools, whether they be in an HR application, a CRM application, or any other application that needs reporting. So what does this look like? You've got here on the bottom, you've got multiple different data sources. So you have your relational databases, maybe you've got cubes, and your data warehouse, store procedures. So on top of that, in using SAP BusinessObjects, you've got the best platform and semantic layer that allows you to connect to one or more data sources. So by bridging on top of that an embedded analytics application, you're now able to take all of that content and embed it within the applications that need reporting. So that way, whether you're in your ERP system, whether you're in your Salesforce system, HR system, transactional ordering system, or an executive dashboarding system, you're accessing the same content in a consistent way. Again, you start to realize those benefits of a common reporting embedded application. And then on top there, we've got the common portal. So as much as it's important to make it easy and consistent for users to access data and reporting in the same way within their applications, we also want to make it easy if you go to a common place, and this could be a SharePoint portal, this could be a homegrown portal, but the idea is that you also have your reporting and analytics available within that common portal. And again, this could be internally or externally facing. So a lot of our customers are not only doing this for internal reporting, but are also providing, for instance, Salesforce community platforms to present data out to their suppliers and partners and customers. So just to kind of show that this isn't really a new idea, this is the 2006 Data Warehouse Institute, really talking about the maturity of business intelligence. Everybody's been working on, moving from, spread mart type data analysis where all the data is on the desktop into the data marts, warehouses, and enterprise data warehouses. So where data is shared and trusted. So BI services, which is what we're talking about, is the last piece, where now you're able to basically plug and play BI into any application. Okay. Same thing goes for Gartner. Back in 2008, they established these 5 levels coming from one-off requests through gaining some data consistency and creating some strategic groups that oversee BI, like a BI competency center, and again, starting to realize the value of data to this last point. And this is level 5, and this is where we're trying to get you to. So that's where information is trusted and available throughout the company. Use of BI is extended out as a valuable asset of the company, and it's also inserted into and around business processes so that users have access to that information in the business process applications that they're using. So again, nothing new, but again, what's new is the technology by which we do that. So you have a BI platform, and for our customers that don't have one, we include one that is the best platform out there in terms of SAP BusinessObjects. in terms of its flexibility and capabilities. You probably also have applications that have their own reporting tool. Obviously, Salesforce.com is a good example. To add to that now, to meet your users' requirements, the ability to add ad hoc reporting and ad hoc query, which is the abilities for users to run reports that have been made for them, personalize them, and also create their own types of queries where they can, from scratch, pull information. So these are some of the common requirements that users have. So this type of embedded analytics platform needs to meet those requirements while being also embedded within the application that the users are using. So it's really a software architecture, again, to be able to connect common shared reporting functionality across multiple packaged or custom applications, as well as corporate portals. So one of the key things to making this successful is the establishment of some type of governing group, some group that the business can go to and say, hey, I have a requirement. And that could be, again, within a cloud-based system like Salesforce.com, or it could be within an internal system that they have some requirements. So it is important to have that visibility to all the different requirements so this type of platform, again, can be shared between these groups. So if you don't have a BI competency center or a governance group or a steering committee, it's definitely recommended to get that. So again, that group can have the visibility across the company. And again, so the key thing, and this is from Gartner, in terms of their definition of embedded analytics, is to use the reporting and analytic capabilities in the transactional business applications, having that reporting be available either outside the application or reusing the analytic infrastructure to be accessible from inside the application without forcing users to switch between systems. So that's what the Report Launch platform does, is the integration of business intelligence within the application architecture. And again, the idea is that it does not require a developer to do that. So, scenarios are, you need to log into Salesforce.com and access data from your accounting system. So having that secure access to the data while being within a cloud application is what we're trying to achieve, without having to move data back in and out of the cloud for reporting purposes. And to show again, interactive dashboards and drill reports within any type of application or portal so that the user sees the data that they're supposed to see based on their security. And being able to log into different applications and run the same report the same way. So that consistency is, these are really the key points of embedded analytics. Okay. So what does that look like? Again, we'll do some demos in a moment, but just the concept is you're within an application. Again, we'll use Salesforce.com as the primary example, and from within there, I can now access reports that are running off of data that is not in Salesforce.com. So be able to integrate one cohesive view of the reports and analytics and dashboards that I need to see, but without having to leave the application that I'm in. Again, that can look like that can be different applications, different looks and feels, different portals, but the concept of that embedded reporting and analytics functionality is the same. So how do we do that? Again, so we've basically broken down reporting applications into a flexible set of blocks, so that depending on your particular scenario, we can combine these blocks of authentication, presenting the reports and analytics that you have access to, providing prompt and parameter and filters to the user, and then be able to execute that report, create the output, and allow the user to interact with it. So we've created a flexible framework that these building blocks can be combined in different ways. Most BI platforms out of the box, again, you really have one flow by which you log in, access all your reports and folders, run a report, fill in the prompts, and then, again, execute that output. But that's not necessarily the best way or in a way that can be cohesively integrated in with other applications. So I'm going to jump over here to just a live browser, and then we'll actually log into Salesforce to show you some examples. So obviously, an important aspect around security is depending upon the user that's logged in, is they're going to see the information that they have access to. So that can be in a couple different scenarios. One is, again, they see a list of reports based on their user security, and that can be defined in a common identity management system like Active Directory or LDAP. Or it can be based on their business object security and or integrated with their Salesforce security. So in this case, again, as a user, I'm just logging in, looking at my report list, and I get access to the lists of reports that I have access to. So I can very quickly get to the information that I'm looking for. Doesn't really matter what data source this is, whether this report is again, running data off of the Salesforce system, or could be running off an accounting system. So in this case, again, from a user perspective, the idea is that this works like a web application. So it should be very intuitive, should have things like tooltips to make it easy for me to understand how to use these features, and just very, very quickly get to the format of information that I'm looking at. All right, so in the process, of generating this content, that in this case you manage the content, right? So this is an example of a web intelligence report. That's again, the user's chosen to output right within the Salesforce application. In this case, I'm actually running off of the infamous eFashion database on my internal system. But again, to the user, it's independent of whether this data is coming off of an internal database, a cloud database, or merged data between the two. And then they could obviously export that out also to the different, various formats, or go into the interactive viewer if you wanted to give them that access to then, slice and dice that report. All right. Again, same thing goes for different sets of content. From a functionality standpoint, you can have the crystal reports, web intelligence reports, and dashboards. And you can see, based on my security, I've got access to quite a bit here. So there's really not a limit in terms of the content of the system. And this can also, again, be integrated in at a report level. Again, an individual tab can be set up to call an individual report. So if your starting point is, again, just integrating some basic content in, again, this can be integrated. And these can be integrated right within the screens as well. So if you want to embed this right within a Salesforce screen, pulling in a particular product or account, that can be done as well. So it's a very simple setup. I'm actually going to kind of show you how that's done. For instance, from a tab perspective, again, this is really the idea is this is something that a business analyst can do. Does not require something that a developer needs to get involved in. So that, again, they can create tabs, create visual force pages, and really just put in for a report, a list of reports. It's just one line of code, and I'll dive into the specifics of this in just a moment. But that's the idea, is that with one line of code you can embed reports, report parts, dashboards, all those different techniques. So, and from within, again, from within this platform, you can connect either directly to Salesforce.com, or you can connect through a universe. to other data points. And you can run reports that are in business objects as well as running reports in Salesforce. So architecturally, the integration is pretty straightforward. The application sits, again, normally for especially Salesforce and cloud-based applications, sits in the corporate DMZ. So really, you do not need to move your business object system. You keep it protected inside your internal network, and then the report launch application handles all the traffic coming in from outside. And then you can then share that BI content with those external users without requiring VPN to embed within the different screens, Salesforce dashboards, within tabs, and again, have an integrated security using the business objects security as well as your whatever security model you're using. And then this can be, again, accessed embedded, or you can actually access it directly if you wanted to create a common reporting portal. Leveraging that security, providing all the auditing, so you can tell with that you may have different Salesforce orgs or multiple different applications, so the system will actually track where that user came from, which of the applications did they use when they came in to access that report. And then there's full event notification, meaning that we can actually track in real time different business events. So you may have, you want to see when inventory gets less than 10%. There's a workflow that gets started, including scheduling a report. So that type of real-time notification of events, as well as tracking, if there's a problem on the business object system. We can actually track those messages and get some proactive workflows started. So architecturally, on your business object system out of the box, you get your CMC and then InfoView or Launchpad. And these are communicating through a whole series of 10 different SDK APIs, depending on the functionality, to then communicate with those server components that are installed on your application server. So we use the same, again, SDKs and APIs combination, but have created a framework, again, focused on embeddability and focused on multi-tenancy, in that you can have multiple applications and each with multiple different customers, and they can get a different look and feel. It can actually connect to different business objects and database systems. So it's an extremely flexible way of, at the application level, managing your internal as well as externally facing applications. Or in some of our customers, we actually manage the complete system in the cloud. So again, for on-premise as well as external cloud applications, you can then embed this technology. And again, a lot of our customers do not only for internal users, but also customer-facing applications. So you really get a full capabilities of using your BI platform, but now get to use it for a much larger return on investment. So again, I mentioned, security is obviously key. So we have several different layers of security that make sure that the user not only is logged in properly, but is getting access to the information that they're allowed to see. So we have several layers of checks around that. Again, the report list has a template approach. So because when you're talking about embedding within your applications, having it be a cohesive look and feel with that application is really important. So we have our application has a template-based approach, in that you can have multiple different looks and feels in the same application. So it intelligently knows who you are, what group you're part of, what application you're coming from, and presents a look and feel for that application. Same thing for prompts. This is actually a very powerful capability, and that, again, should look and work like a web page, very intuitive, not really requiring any training. But we do enhance the capabilities of the out-of-the-box system. This, again, style sheet-based prompt screen, so you can make sure the look and feel matches your application. We have some advanced capabilities around lists of values that we can actually connect to external data sources. And then things like being able to put further control where you may have a report that is designed one way, but for this particular interface, maybe you want to change the order, change the list of values a little bit. We have the capability to kind of leave your report the way it is and let the user interface control the user's experience. And then we have enhanced capabilities. So rather than a user running a report and then going in and saying, well, I want to go remove my columns that I don't use, and I want to sort it differently, and then I want to export out that report in a particular format, we can capture all that information up front so that every time the user runs this report, it's already in the format that they need. That's a big time savings. It also reduces the number of requests back to a IT or report development group to make slight changes to the report. So we equip the user to make those changes while still making the report read-only. And then they can save those and even share those with other people in their departments. So very powerful prompt screens that increase the usability of the system. Again, we can track where users are coming from, what they're doing. So we have some capabilities as the application that we can track things a little bit easier than BusinessObjects can, because we can do it more succinctly in terms of the application needs, and then it can track again and present when there's a BusinessObjects system, we can actually do some alerts out to the team so that we increase the uptime of that system. I mentioned the integration, so it's as simple as this. I want to add it to a tab, list of reports. I just put in a one call, and we do this. We basically train you how to do this so that you can multiply the number of uses you have of your reporting. So it's one line of code to embed it within a tab of any application, to embed it within a page. Again, just one line of code. If I want to call a report, it's just a call report. And there's some very powerful capabilities around this in terms of session handling on your BusinessObjects system. So help customers scale their system out. We have a whole intelligence layer that can tell if you're actually using the screen or not. And when you're not, if you're just kind of sitting looking at those numbers, we can actually free up that session on the BusinessObjects system so that it's a much more scalable architecture for how you're running reports. So you can get much more users out of the system. Again, some common look and feels. Again, look and feel can be managed. You can turn on and turn off features. So again, the idea is you do not need a developer to implement this system. It is a prepackaged turnkey system for embedding this technology. But again, to the user, they're just in there running reports and getting access. They're accessing their reports and dashboards. So it's just a very seamless look and feel. And again, this can be both interactive as well as embedded. So if you were looking at a Salesforce account screen, for instance, you can just be looking at accounting data for that CRM account all within the same screen. So it's to the user, it's just information. Where it comes from and how it gets there is not their job. The system will obviously needs to just create that cohesive decision-making process. Again, technology-wise, it again acts as a secure web layer and limits external access. So you keep your internal systems internal, and you again properly manage the Salesforce application on the outside, connecting to this data on the inside. So really, there's really 10 main features that the embedded analytics application needs. The out-of-the-box BusinessObjects system really gives you 6 of those in terms of single sign-on, again, content-based auditing, data security, the ability to bring back a dynamic list of values, prompt support, and an interactive viewer. To make it truly embedded, again, the LaunchWorks SDK solution allows a single-click access to view, print, and export reports securely, the ability to embed those reports into the screens for an intuitive look and feel, and again, the ability to have a cohesive application-specific field that users can work with their prompts and personalize their reports without actually creating new report objects in business objects. And then, again, have flexibility, whether it's accessing the reports on demand or hitting scheduled instances or bursted content. So, the next steps, establishing a BI competency center, some type of group as a single point of contact. And again, if you have a data warehouse, and establishing that is a great way to enhance the capabilities of that data warehouse to have that high quality data, and that as many of the application requirements can go through that data warehouse. And then establishing, again, embedded analytics requirements. The key concept here is you start off with one project, build in some basics, and then every other project, in terms of their requirements, will further enhance that system. So all applications that use it will benefit from that, rather than having stovepipe different applications. Okay, so again, that looks like you got your enterprise data warehouse with an embedded analytics architecture that allow you to access not only through a BI portal, but also through ad hoc reporting needs within your applications. So at this point, we wanted to open it up for questions. Feel free to get as technical or non-technical as you need. You can either, again, enter it into the chat window, or you can come off mute.
Kevin, great presentation, by the way. Really appreciated that. So I have a question for you, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the total number of data sources that you can connect into the LaunchWorks platform and be able to want to pull it out? Is there a limitation on the number of data sources?
No, not at all. You've got really any combination of sources, especially when you're using the business object system, because you can connect to really any data source internally or externally. Again, whether that be multidimensional, whether that be database stored procedures, whether it be relational, or cloud-based web services as well. So any combination. So it's really unlimited.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any other questions for anybody else out there?
Okay, so there is a question on the chat window. How would we use this to capture active searchers for sales leads? So I think if I understand the question correct in this case, it sounds like, again, depending where the data is, so if that's an active data that's within the Salesforce.com system, you actually have two different choices. One is we have a connector, a query that can connect straight to Salesforce, so that you can pull that data down in real time. And again, depending on your Salesforce.com security, you would be able to pull down whatever information you're allowed to see based on your rights. The second method is where you're looking for more of a view across users. We can again, we have a universe that will connect to Salesforce, and we have some reports and dashboards that can be customized by you to again pull down the information out of that system And we can actually synchronize information. So from a performance or data volume standpoint, the system has the capabilities to actually cache or pre-cache the information that's in Salesforce and pull that down into a database so that you can be hitting it on your SQL Server, for instance, and doing those type of search capabilities using web intelligence. And then that can then be embedded back into Salesforce so that from a user experience standpoint, you can access that information right within Salesforce, even though it's actually pulling the data, and whether it be in real time or in a cache state. So that answers that question. Actually wanted to show one more just demo example. Let me just log in here, kind of relevant to that question.
Hey, Kevin, one last item.
Yeah.
What are really some of the main features and functionality with regards to security that people should know?
So the key things around security again is having a common login, and so one of the things you choose again is what is going to be your identity management system. Let's just say it's Active Directory. So just setting it up so that that once that's decided, the system is configured so that a user within Salesforce can be identified so that the data security on your internal systems is again can be matched up. So Salesforce has several capabilities around user ID federation, again, which identifies who this user is on your internal systems, again, using, for instance, an AD account. Or, again, you can use a common identity management system, something like Ping Identity, so that both Salesforce and your internal systems are going off of the same account. Again, that goes all the way down to the data level. So we've got some features like things like hidden prompts by which we can actually filter data in real time so that you don't have to manage the security every time you add a new user, or add a new group or customer to your system. We can actually pass that information behind the scenes through the reporting engine down to the database so that it's a very simplified process. We find a lot of customers develop systems, and then it's a lot of work to actually get up a new customer or a new group or new partner to use the system. So using this technology both at the identification level of their login as well as the data security at the database level. Again, the idea is it really should be automated or just take a few minutes, not hours or days, to set up a new set of security.
So basically, it's a full authentication all the way down the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So in this case, I'm actually, one of the things I wanted to show is, again, so some of these are some web intelligence reports. These are also some Salesforce reports. So from a user perspective, they don't have to think of where to go. They can just go to the reports tab and then access all their reports from the same place. So again, that cohesiveness and ease of use is what we're going for. Another question on the chat. So how interactive can you be with the reports and dashboards with Salesforce? So a couple different examples. Let me jump over to my other window here. So actually I'm going to log into, so based on my role, you can give users as much, I guess, interactivity as you want. So, and there's a couple different ways. Again, we we have some interactivity on our reports, our report viewers, as well as you can go into full interactive mode. So one of the key concepts that we try to educate customers on is giving users only as much functionality as they need without requiring them to create new content. Because once you create a report, which is the single version of the truth, if you give the users the ability to personalize that report and they add content or make changes to that report, save that as their own feature, they now have their own separate copy. So if you make a change to the master report, you've in effect lost that, they've lost that connection with the main report. So to make that same personalization, they would have to again go grab the latest report and make that same personalization. So from a flow standpoint, what we try to push is what we call the template-based approach, where you have a single report template, and then users can basically personalize that and save those settings so that next time they run that same report, they get all of the changes that has been made, for instance, by IT, and then it applies then their personalizations of columns and sorts and filters. So in this case, I'm going to just show you the full interactivity, which is that I run this report, but I'm a power user, so I also have the capabilities to go into interactive mode. So again, and this content could be internal data, it could be Salesforce data, so we have capabilities to handle multiple different data sources. So in this case, again, you have the full capabilities of Web Intelligence to be interactive. And of course, so if I, for instance, modify this report and save this back to the system, it'll be again then available for the system. So it is it's all in real time. I think that's the end of the questions again on the chat, but and there's my sample doc. So there's no delay in terms of how available the information is when you access the reports. So there's a question about how long does it take to get.
I forget it. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. There's a question about how long does it take to get your solution up and running. So in a normal state, we can be up and running connected to the system within a few hours. Most of the time beyond that just has to do with configuring your network to allow access to the application. But it's a really simple installation and configuration. Sorry, another question, Jeffrey?
No, actually, you answered the question. That's what I wanted to find out is, how long does it actually take to come up? And you answered it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay. I would say in terms of, again, mobile and dashboards, there's, several advanced, again, capabilities as your needs beyond just reporting analytics grow. So, again, feel free to follow up with 5X in terms of what your particular needs are, and then we'll be happy to review that and get a pilot going.
Kevin, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. And everybody on the line, I really appreciate your taking some time out of your busy schedules to come and listen to our presentation. If there's anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or to Kevin McManus. I believe his cell phone information is up on the screen there, and we'll be able to help you out. Again, thank you very much, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.